stabilized.
Fox News analyst Charles Krauthammer noted the attempted launch came after the Trump administration repeatedly warned the hermit state to change its behavior.
It seems to me simply a deliberate provocation, with us at the Security Council, with our Secretary of State presiding over the meeting, with all the threats, with the president saying we're near, or at least there's a threat of a major conflict here, trying to challenge the Trump administration and say, well, show us what you got.
Okay, so Dana, obviously a very developing situation right at this hour, but what do you think the Trump administration should be doing in terms of its messaging right now as it relates to North Korea and also China?
Well, I think that they've had remember when Rex Tillerson, the Secretary of State, said, it was the Vice President, he said the era of strategic patience has come to an end. Rex Tillerson has been very sparse in his words. They're not giving Kim Jong-un the attention that he seeks, and today besides the president's tweet, the official statement from the White House press secretary's office was, yes, we know about the test, and yes, the president has been briefed. And no more things about, oh, well, we have to all get together, the world community has to really work on it. I did think it was really interesting yesterday that Rex Tillerson said in an interview with NPR that the United States would be willing to seek and wants direct talks with North Korea. We haven't said that before. That is a new foreign policy position for the United States, and they didn't really go further on that, but I think what they're starting to realize is Kim Jong-un is certainly under pressure. We don't understand a lot about the regime because it's so secretive and such a hermit, but it is under tremendous pressure, and he is losing face. So he's embarrassed, and he's trying to show that he does have this weapons capability, and I think that maybe we're going to provoke him into doing something where we could possibly show him that we can push him back into the Stone Age.
Okay, and Bret Baier, welcome to the program.
Thank
Great
you.
to have you. And you were taking in this breaking news earlier today as it relates to North Korea. How do you see this unfolding?
I think the administration has a lot of confidence in the relationship that was established in Mar-a-Lago between the president and the Chinese president, and they don't talk about all the things that China's doing. But I think they're doing more than we know that they're doing. The fact that there are fuel shortages in Pyongyang suggests that perhaps they're turning the screws on them. That's key for this to go along the track that the administration wants. I think there's a lot of concern that this tension rises and gets to a point where the North Korean leader is backed into a corner, and China is the linchpin to take it out of that moment.
Juan, it does seem that President Trump is working quite nicely, cooperatively with President Xi of China, which I think is really a key relationship to continue in good stead, especially given sort of the turbulent dynamic that we're dealing with in North Korea.
So on Fox this morning, I saw KT McFarland talking about the relationship with China and suggesting that China really is in a key position to influence what's going on. But it begs my reason, because to me, the idea that they are doing more missile testing seems to me to be quite intentionally suggesting that they want to display their military might at this moment, and they're not listening to anybody. So the United States has sent an armada of ships in that direction. Sometimes say we sent the ships in the wrong direction, but anyway, in the neighborhood. And then you've got a situation where people feel directly threatened. Now, we know this man has nuclear weapons. That's pretty serious. And, you can make jokes about Trump being erratic and Kim Jong-un being erratic and which one has nukes and, oh, they're both. But it's not, to me, this is way beyond humor. This is a threat to the stability of that entire region. And I don't see the Chinese reacting in the way we are. So, people say, oh, we could bomb them back to the Stone Age. That is not to our advantage. Poll numbers, a Fox poll. I don't know if you saw this Fox poll, Brett. It said most Americans say, yeah, go get them. I think that's the start of a major world war. That's a world war.
I think that's not what that poll said. I think that the poll said Americans are willing to have the United States take proactive action if it needs to in order to protect our country if he has the capability of having a weapon that can reach our shores.
Well, in fact, they had a video. I don't know if you saw this in the news today. The North Koreans on their propaganda channel put out a video with a picture of the White House, and they were blowing up the White House. I think these folks just want to. They're sticking it to Donald Trump, and they want him to overreact.
They're trying to poke the cage or poke the oval, and it seems like a lot of bravado and machismo. Nevertheless, it's a very serious conflict that we have right now that's developing, Greg.
Is it really?
It is.
Is it? I don't know. Let me give you some perspective, Juan.
Okay.
Thank you.
They shot a former Scud missile 25 miles, and it broke up in flight into the water. They routinely do this, and we always play along. Do we need to care or respond the way we always do? We don't. This is like the kid in the neighborhood who has to show off by popping a wheelie. All the time popping a wheelie, and he always ends up on his butt over tea kettle, as they used to say. So the good news about this is from Trump's tweet, which I found is he pulled China into the tweet. He said he pulled China onto his side. He said, hey, you're disrespecting China too. And so superpowers in a way are like superheroes. Generally, they're against each other, Batman versus Superman. But when there's an enemy or that is a force that is more evil than both of them, then they unite. They team up to fight. So there's something positive coming here. We don't know what kind of impact this is going to have and what China's going to do. But it seems to me that China and America are working together, and I think that's important as well.
And the other thing that we don't talk about a lot is whether the U.S. was behind some of the failures.
Right.
The last one, they give you a smile and a wink in Washington
Absolutely.
and intelligence officials. And who knows what happened today. But I think that the U.S. may be pushing that kid with the bike over.
Right, which is always a lot of fun.
But because in North Korea, the only access that they have is the propaganda channel, all they know is that they're sending off missiles. They don't know that they broke up 25 miles off of the sea.
But that's why he's right. There were so many, in the intelligence community behind the scenes, like giving you that wink and nod. We don't think that they're going to be able to get a missile launch successfully completed anytime in the near future. It doesn't mean they're not going to be able to overcome any capabilities in terms of cyber hacking. So that's why this is.
But let me just tell you, that South Korea and Japan are not very far.
I understand
and
that.
So if they start, going after, and remember, we have troops, as you point out yesterday, we have troops right there. I think 30,000 troops in South Korea.
On the line, yep.
30, that's 30 miles, right?
35.
So 35, says Dana Perino. So.
Can I hear 40?
All right. But my point to you is that starts big trouble.
Yes, but that's the point. This is a pattern that you get from President Trump that is now bordering on the mundane, and it's positive. What President Trump does is he sprints to the most extreme pole, and then he stands there and he waves. And he waits for everyone else to get alarmed and then move a little bit toward him, which is what everybody wants. He now has created moderate progress with China. He's not interested in waging a war. What he did was he went to the most extreme pole, raised concerns, and then people stand up and go, oh my God, what's going on? And then they move toward him. He did this with China.
Right.
He did this he did this with immigration. He did this with Syria. It's his pattern, and it seems to be working.
Well, and this was also tied in with trade with China. And so let's reflect a little further, shall we? Because tomorrow marks President Trump's 100th day in office. He talked about his presidency thus far with Fox News' Martha McCallum earlier today.
We have this artificial barrier called 100 days, which I'm not a big fan of, but of course,
although you've made a pretty good effort to get a lot of things done in the past few days.
No, I fall victim to it also. But it is very much an artificial barrier. Getting a Supreme Court justice, a great one, I think he'll be a great one, but getting him not only nominated but approved in the first 100 days, which hasn't been done since 1881, and this is going to be something really special.
Okay, so you notice the point there, Brett, about Neil Gorsuch, and that was a very important, perhaps maybe in the headline in terms of accomplishments in the first 100 days for the president.
I've talked to some conservatives who say if nothing else happened, and that happened, that this would be a total success, let alone what is likely to happen, and that is possibly Justice Kennedy retiring and another seat opening up, or some other justice on the Supreme Court stepping down. And I think that when you look at the polls among evangelicals, among faith-based voters, they're 73, 75% saying that this president is doing the right thing.
There are single-issue voters as well.
I do think the 100 days thing, people are just tired of hearing about the 100 days. And, maybe it's 200 days or whatever it takes, but eventually you're going to get to a list of things he's got.
Or 8 years, as he suggested. He said it's going to be, he's calling it out, Dana. So what do you make of these accomplishments? I know you like the Neil Gorsuch one.
Oh, definitely, for sure. I do think that one of the things that the 100 days does as well, though, it's not just to measure the president, it's for the president to pressure the Congress. And what you heard from him today, that he's disappointed with the Congress because when he looks at the legislation that was brought to him, I think it was 28 pieces of legislation. None of it was the big blockbuster stuff, but that doesn't matter. I think that can happen. Because you never get a second chance to make a first impression, those first 25 days that seemed like there was chaos and there was the travel ban and there was all of this stuff going on where he said the so-called judge and there was all the tweeting, that just took a little bit of time to settle down. I think the next 75 days, which included the Gorsuch confirmation. And you had, of course, the health care bill failed. That's probably the biggest mar against that first 100 days. But I actually think that conservatives, Republicans are sort of like, fine, we're not quite ready to do that yet. And I think the next 100 days, when they start to lay out more on this tax reform plan, that's when you'll see even more Republicans garner around him.
Try and coalesce.
Because if you look at what he has been able to do with even skeptical Republicans is now they're saying, you know what, we are for this. Partly it's the Gorsuch thing, but there's also just on the policy front, I think that's good. My last thing on this would be, I do think it's important for them to try to start to fill in some of these positions all across the government because that will help them achieve their legislative goals.
They need some efficiency and they need the personnel and the staff to be able to do that. So I think that's one of the most important things. Greg, what do you make? First 100 days.
We haven't even talked about what he did today, which is he signed an executive order for offshore drilling. And that's fantastic because that means more dirty jobs. It means more jobs. It means stimulating the economy. And it tells the fish who's boss. Because we're offshore. We're not onshore. We're offshore. I think his political philosophy.
Welcome to the fire, man.
Wow.
This actually, I'm trying to get to a good point. Trump's political philosophy has been interpreted a number of different ways. He's a populist nationalist, economic nationalist. I think they're all wrong. I think it's just a guy who loves his country, who wants to try his hand at running it. And so that's what what he is he's applying the same kind of business sense, which is multitasking. He's doing all these things at once, and it creates a sense of chaos. So you have a lot of unease among the Democrats. You have a lot of unease in the entertainment industry and the media. They can't keep up with him. He's like a crazed, personal trainer, and the class can't keep up with him. And it's a really interesting thing to see because among his failures, you talk about some of them. You have an executive order on offshore drilling. You've got deregulation. You've got Gorsuch. You've got decreased border crossings. Yeah. When you start thinking about that over 100 days, that's almost one thing every 2 to 3 weeks. That's pretty good.
Okay, so you're giving him a fair grade?
I don't know.
An A, a B?
I've been drinking.
Plus, look at it this way. Martha McCallum gets all new graphics.
That's true.
The next whole new deal.
What do you call it? The next 100 or 200?
All right, Juan, I want to get
the story.
Yeah, your quick recap on this, and I want to talk about the NRA.
You know the reason the 5 is so great? Because if your homework wasn't turned in today, young people, you can come to this show and the dog ate your homework. That's what happened with Donald Trump in his first 100 days. First of all, 100 days, who talked about that? Oh, Donald Trump, I forgot. And then today, or earlier this week, Donald Trump in an interview with Reuters, guess what? He says, this job's a lot harder than I thought. I liked my earlier life much better. I didn't realize how much work.
I
didn't realize. That's honesty. No politician ever said, gee, this job's tougher than I thought.
Oh, no.
But every one of us has said that.
He said it. He said it today.
That's what I'm saying.
He's saying this is far harder.
That's what I'm saying.
And he remember when he was saying.
I'm saying that's what makes him unique.
Unique? How about it makes him a failure?
No, it makes him honest.
Because he was honest.
Honest? How about this? Let's forget honest, dishonest judgment. Let's just go say this.
So
here's what he says. No. I love honesty, so let's be honest.
Yes.
Where's the wall?
Yeah.
Where's tax reform?
Yeah.
Where's Obamacare repeal? Where's the infrastructure? Oh, and let's go. You know what? You elect me President of America. ISIS, gone. I'm going to wipe them out first day. No questions. I've got a secret plan.
He's been killing ISIS.
Oh, yeah, he's been killing us.
You must
killing
have been
him.
tough to
Yes,
play at
Juan.
like birthday parties
No,
when you were a
what-
kid. You're
what-
like, just one clown?
Well, you know, what I did was
This
I
is
invited
terrible.
Greg to my birthday party, and then he made excuses for not coming. I was so lonely.
And then you tried to pop a wheelie.
I know, and then, what was that? I ended up as a hermit nation.
Yes.
I just want to note that the 9 p.m. version is a lot more fiery.
Yeah, is that what it is?
It seems
Fired
It's
up.
because you have 4 extra
Unchained.
hours of drinking
Supersized.
coffee.
Yes, yes, yes.
That was in your mug, coffee?
We got
Yes.
4 more digits. Now, one of the keys to President Trump's election victory was rallying his base. And for the first time in 34 years, the sitting commander-in-chief addressed the annual NRA convention. Take a look.
I have a feeling that in the next election, you're going to be swamped with candidates, but you're not going to be wasting your time. You'll have plenty of those Democrats coming over, and you're going to say, no, sir, no, thank you. No, ma'am, perhaps, ma'am. It may be Pocahontas. Remember that. And she is not big for the NRA, that I can tell you. But you came through for me, and I am going to come through for you.
Okay, so Brett, he mentioned that he was he was the only one to go and address the NRA as a candidate, and now I come before you as President of the United States. So that was.
Well, the NRA is a big deal. They're one of the first endorsers as a big group. He's the first sitting president since Reagan in 1983 to speak in front of the convention. Listen, those are the folks in the middle of the country, a lot of them that are saying that this is going fine. And give them a chance. That's what they're saying. Now, there's obviously a lot of criticism about the president, about how he started and what he hasn't accomplished. But for folks in that room, they look at Neil Gorsuch again, and they look at the prospect of deregulating the things that they care about.
Right, and a robust supporter of the Second Amendment. So, Greg, they're pretty fired up.
The best
Literally.
the best advertisement for the NRA right now is Venezuela, because it has no NRA. It has no Second Amendment. It has no way for citizens to protect themselves from tyranny. And right now, Venezuela is imploding, and the government is killing its citizens at will because they cannot fight back. So when you look at Venezuela, you understand why we are so lucky that we have the Second Amendment, because guns preserve our freedom and liberty from tyranny. There's no other way to put it. And if you didn't have guns, this country would be a different, stranger place.
Right, and
You
the
really
places where
believe
no
that?
guns are
I believe it.
allowed,
I believe it with my heart and soul.
You think-
And I don't even have a soul.
Well, yes, you do. I believe you do. But I must say, you think you have enough guns to take on the U.S. government?
Yes, I don't think the U.S. government could ever attempt any.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, not even.
You remember the Black
it wouldn't come.
Panthers?
It wouldn't come from the government. It would come from the left. It would come from the left.
Oh, I knew.
As it
I
always
knew the
does.
left was hanging out there.
Well, they're the ones beating up people over speech.
But I'm saying, if your argument is true, guess what? Then we have enough guns to confront the U.S. military, and I just think that's a fallacy.
We keep everything at bay. It's a polite society when it's armed.
Yes, well, and it serves as a psychological deterrent nonetheless,
Yes.
because just like when we talked about soft targets, right? People go and they hit the soft targets because there aren't weapons there, right? So that's what they do. When you see places that have weapons, they don't want to go there because it's a bad ending for them. So you pick places like the Pulse nightclub in Orlando, et cetera, or San Bernardino to take a hit, and we saw that with terrorism here. Dana, what do you make of the fact that right here, on the day before his 100-day mark, he goes to the NRA? Would you like that scheduling? Would you recommend it?
I was actually surprised to learn that a president hadn't gone in 34 years. That just surprised me. I just assumed that President Bush had gone, or that George H.W. Bush would have gone. I'm surprised by that, so I think it's bold, and I think it's smart, because, as I said, he's locked down his base. I think the next thing that he has to do is to try to figure out what constituency can he pick off in order to help him achieve some of these legislative goals. So if he thinks about those people in the Rust Belt that had voted for Obama but decided not to vote for Clinton and went for him because they believed in whatever it might have been, take your pick of Make America Great Again, assuming it's jobs. So how does he continue to keep them in his corner, and how can he try to reach out to some of those people
Who would
in
you
Congress?
suggest?
Well, I'm not sure. There's not a lot of moderate Democrats left, and in fact, in a future segment, we're going to talk about how the liberals the Democrats are just sort of in disarray. They don't exactly know what to do, and they're pushing purity of their ideology rather than broadening their base. So I think that because he can rest assured that he has the Republicans locked down. That he doesn't have to worry, they're not going anywhere. So what can he do to reach out to yet another constituency to help him? Because he doesn't have enough votes in the Congress to do it just with the Republicans only.
Right.
There are 12 Senate Democrats up for re-election in 2018 from states where Donald Trump
Did well,
won
yeah.
82% or more of the counties. So, I think you'll see him travel to those states and say, this senator is not with me on X, Y, and Z,
Yeah.
and make the case of leverage. I think because of the slow start and because of Democrats really going down the road of the Russia investigation, they felt emboldened, and there may be some more leverage that the president and the administration have.
So let me just say for a second that for their $30 million, which was a tremendous boost to Trump's campaign in places like Pennsylvania, rural Pennsylvania, Ohio, Wisconsin, I think it was a difference maker in so many places. He's going to have to do something. And what he said today was, you guys backed me, and now I'm going to come through for you. And what is exactly that agenda? Oh, concealed weapons, making it easier to carry concealed weapons. And how about this one? Everybody should have a silencer on their gun. Oh, my God.
I don't think that's what he said.
I think that's the NRA agenda. Yeah.
That's not what the
Okay,
president
but that's not what the president said, right, Dana?
That's what they're pushing.
I think you need a silencer.
Thank you.
Not that kind of silencer.
Dana, give
Put
it
him
to
on
him.
mute because we're going to talk about the Democrats. How are things looking for Democrats 100 days into the Trump administration? Here's an indicator from Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, who appears stumped by a reporter's question about the future of his party.
Who's the leader of the Democratic Party? You?
Well, we have a bunch of leaders. I certainly am the leader of the Senate, and I try to help represent the Democratic Party. But we have a lot of very good voices. It's much too premature to handicap 2020.
Brett, I would love to start with you on this because you are a little bit closer to Washington. The Democrats seem still to be grappling with the loss from last November, and they don't have a national leader. There's a real party split. We just talked about, the push for liberal purity so that they can't actually go beyond that. How would you think that their first 100 days went?
I think pretty poor. They're in the wilderness. When you have the DNC chair, Tom Perez, saying that pro-life Democrats essentially are not welcome in a speech, when you have a leader who can't really say where the party is in an elevator speech, what their goals are. Peggy Noonan has a really great op-ed in the Washington Post.
Wall Street Journal.
Wall Street Journal, I'm sorry. And it's really nails it. I think.
She does. In fact, I think I have a full screen here. I would love to read you just a part of it. She says, Mr. Trump has struggled so colorfully the past 3 months. We've barely noticed his great good luck that in the time the Democratic Party and the progressive left have been having a very public, nervous breakdown, Juan. Is your party having a nervous breakdown?
Yeah, I think they don't know. I think they're, Dems in disarray. I don't think they have it together. And they don't have a coherent message. I mean, the shocking news of the week was the Washington Post poll that had Trump beating Clinton if the election was held today. That's evidence that the Democrats haven't come up with a strong message. Like today, economic news, not good under the first 3 months of President Trump. But do we think that Democrats have a counter message, a counter punch to Donald Trump? I don't see it right now. They have been unified in the Congress, and that's revealed splits among Republicans on things like Obamacare, the deficit, and the rest. But is that
Greg,
enough?
they're not able to actually talk about any of those things when you have the messages from the left right now are coming from campus.
Yeah, look
and
at
they are about shutting down speech.
Yeah, if you look at the parties or the leadership side by side, you look at Trump's actions versus Pelosi and Schumer, you got the one side, you have the Keystone Pipeline. The other side, you got the Keystone Cops. They're complete bumblers. But having said that, it is, in a way, a reverse of 2008. The prediction of implosion never happens. It's a cycle that we all go through. We see it happen. People rebuild. But what the Dems have is a lot of vitriol. And because vitriol feels really good, and they somehow believe that all the Trump hate will translate into Democrat love. Like that the more that you witheringly, you humiliate, destroy, or mock the right or the Republicans, you think that that's going to build your brand, but you're just kind of spinning in the mud. Vitriol is like booze. It only feels good to you. No one else really feels it.
Well, and I think, Kimberly, that's actually a really good point about
Thank you.
how
Put that in your good point journal.
Okay, I will. It's called a great, and it's not a good point journal.
Great.
It's a great point journal.
Yes.
the fact that if they keep up the vitriol and the rhetoric, they can keep up the fundraising.
That's
if
what
they
they want.
let up on the gas and they start to work with President Trump and the Republicans on any of these big ticket items, they're worried that that would dry up. And they can't just expect that Donald Trump is going to flail. He just solidified his base. I think he stabilized his approval rating.
Yeah, and this is really true, Dana. This comes about, basically turns about the money. They want to continue the fundraising. So does Elizabeth Warren. Everybody wants to get reelected. It's about their constituents. So they become quite vocal obstructionists. They feel that it will serve them as a disadvantage if they actually come to the table with the Republicans. Basically, this party, if you look at it right now, the snapshot in American history, they're in tatters. They've been reduced to 16 governors, historically lowest number of legislative seats in terms of the representation. The person who's sort of the darling of the Democratic Party sits next to the head of the DNC, but he refuses, Bernie Sanders, to call himself a Democrat. So where do they go from here? They're rudderless, they're lacking inspiration and voice, and they're just feasting, as Greg says, on vitriol.
And they have to have wins, too. They have to have W's to take home.
Imagine if the Democrats were good at politics right now.
Wow.
But this stuff turns around fast.
It does. It could. So I won't eat
So
those
stay
words
tuned.
later.
It could happen right now.
Yes, stay tuned.
Directly ahead, President Trump will not attend the White House Correspondents' Dinner tomorrow. We're going to tell you what he'll be up to next instead.
I have seen with my own eyes the hidden civilization.
The Lost City of Z is the New York Times critics' pick, with an impact that's every bit as powerful as Apocalypse Now. 5 stars, off the charts, everything you could possibly want in an adventure.
We must turn back. There is no turning back.
And Vanity Fair declares it's breathtaking in scope. Experience one of the year's best movies.
I call it set, and we
is your gourmet latte, then these are your Vans. Vans for professionals. Strictly professionals. Best commercial van residual value according to ALG, and starting at just $25,995. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Your music can take you anywhere you want to go. And Guitar Center is the best place to start your journey. The greatest guitar sale on earth is going on now. With money-saving deals and special financing on guitars, amps, and accessories from all major brands. Where will your new guitar take you? Guitarathon, going on now at Guitar Center.
Hi, I'm Joan London. When I needed to find senior care for my mom, I really struggled to find the right fit until I found a senior living advisor to help me, someone who'd been through this before. My advisor explained my options and helped me understand what my mom really needed. That's why I recommend A Place for Mom, the nation's largest senior living referral service. A Place for Mom is a free service that has helped over 200,000 families find the right senior care for their moms or dads, from independent living to assisted living, even Alzheimer's care. And they have local advisors that can explain your options at no cost to you. Believe me, I know, I've been there. Finding senior care can be tough, but now there's a place for answers, A Place for Mom.
If you're struggling to find reliable senior living information for your mom or dad, then call now or go online to get all the free help you need. Call 800-AGE-WISE. 800-AGE-WISE.
If you have AFib not caused by a heart valve problem and you're taking warfarin, you have the choice of a different kind of blood thinner. Pradaxa helps stop blood cells from pooling in the heart, forming a clot, which can cause a stroke in the brain. In a clinical study, Pradaxa was better than warfarin at reducing stroke risk. And in the rare case of an emergency situation when seconds matter, there's the only FDA-approved reversal treatment made just for people taking Pradaxa that helps you clot normally again. Don't take Pradaxa if you've had a heart valve replacement or have abnormal bleeding. Don't stop taking Pradaxa without talking to your doctor, as stopping increases your risk of stroke or blood clots. Tell your doctor before any planned medical or dental procedure or before stopping Pradaxa. Pradaxa can cause serious but rarely fatal bleeding. Seek immediate medical help with signs of bleeding, like unusual bruising. Pradaxa may increase your bleeding risk if you're 75 or older, have kidney problems, stomach ulcers, a bleeding condition, or take certain medicines. Side effects can include indigestion, stomach pain, upset, or burning. Ask your doctor about Pradaxa and its reversal treatment, available nationwide.
Welcome back. Friday night on the 5. The White House Correspondents' Dinner tomorrow, Saturday night. But President Trump won't be there.
I would come next year, absolutely. No, I haven't. Look, I'm treated very unfairly and very dishonestly by the press, and I thought it was inappropriate to go this year. If I were treated even slightly fairly by the press, I would have gone.
Instead, the president's going to hold a rally in Pennsylvania on Saturday night. It's not hard to see why Mr. Trump is upset at the press, given who's getting journalism awards these days. They include some of his critics, including Univision anchor Jorge Ramos, who today received a Walter Cronkite Award for excellence in television political journalism. Look back at this exchange from then-candidate Trump and Ramos in 2015.
How nuts.
Excuse me, sit down. You weren't called. Sit down. Sit down. Sit down. Go ahead. No, you don't. You haven't been called. Go back to Univision. Sit down, please. You weren't called.
Why are we doing this?
Wow. So not only is Jorge Ramos getting an award, but Katie Tur, who's often a target of the president's criticisms, and Jake Tapper at CNN, they're getting awards. What do you think, Kimberly?
You know, I don't think this is a bad idea that he doesn't attend. And I'll tell you what, and I've thought about it a lot. At first I thought, well, you know what, he should go. He's the president, and make sure that, you know, like all the other presidents have gone, and address them and sort of take the punches. However, he also has said, I'm going to drain the swamp. I'm not going to be part of the whole Washington, D.C. insider thing.
Yeah.
So he wants to be a man of the people. So he's going back to his people that helped put him in the Oval. So in that sense, I've heard a lot of positive remarks and analysis about him doing this from people who aren't necessarily his most ardent supporters from the beginning, and saying, you know what, this works well with me. In fact, Meghan McCain said that.
So I think that you will be there tomorrow night.
I will.
You will be there. And
I think this is 15. I think I've been to 15 of them.
15? I hate to tell you this, but I've been to more.
I know, but I know how they go, and it's.
At least you guys aren't insiders.
Yeah, I know.
No, not us.
But
let's drain the swamp, shall we?
Politically, this will really work for President Trump to be out there in Pennsylvania. Giving a speech. I don't know if he's going to put a line in there about the media in their penguin suits in D.C. I assume he will.
You just gave him one.
Yeah, exactly. And that'll work. It'll resonate because, you know, it is an insider thing, an event. And the comedian's going to be very anti-Trump, I'm sure. And he's probably going to rip on the president a lot.
He'll probably rip on the media, too.
And he will probably be in that list. But I think that now this is going to focus on journalism. And as far as these awards, they are voted on by other reporters and correspondents.
Right. But you know what struck me is, this has been a difficult relationship with the president, saying the press is the enemy. You have Woodward and Bernstein, Dana, as the featured act at the Correspondents' Dinner. The Washington Post now has that subhead that goes, "Democracy dies in darkness," clearly aimed at President Trump.
Well, here's the thing. I think it does work for him. He likes to fight with the press. The base likes it when he fights with the press. However, he also likes the press. He has done, I think today, 8 interviews, or within the last 48 hours, 8 interviews leading up to his 100th day. He's also going to do a Sunday show. I think he'll be on CBS. And he says he'll go to the dinner next year. So I can't take a lot of... I just think that he's going to go next year. He's going to continue using media, or he'll maybe bait that he won't go. Who knows? I just think that he does like the media in a lot of ways, because it works for him when they're working with them, and it works for him when he's working against them.
And Fabio's going to be there.
What?
No. Oh, he was going to be. Oh, he was on Tucker. Sorry.
All right. Greg, are you going?
No, I went twice, and I hated it. It's 2 groups I despise, preening celebrities and sweaty wannabes desperate for selfies with preening celebrities. To me, it's really disgusting, and I hate it. And Donald Trump has made another thing great again. He made the White House Correspondents' Dinner great again, because before it was a bloated orgy of self-congratulation, and now you're going to have Woodward and Bernstein. It's going to be less flair, less pretense. It'll be more of a journalism event.
Well, then why don't you go?
Because I have to work.
You're live.
I'm doing a live show at that time. But the unspeakable truth about this, and it's what I love so much, that the Hollywood and media who will be there cannot accept, is that the new president is more interesting than you.
Yep.
People are more interested in looking at Donald Trump than Chad Lowe. It's not going to happen. That's going to be your highlight, Chad Lowe. And my prediction for the comedian, yeah, they're going to hit all the targets. It's going to be Donald Trump. It'll be Donald J. Trump. It'll be Ivanka Trump. It'll be Fox News. It'll be Don Trump. It'll be Fox News. That's what they're going to do. That's going to be how broad they get, because that's all they can do.
But we still want people to tune into your show tomorrow night.
Yeah. And I think it's right that Trump is not going. He should screw them. He doesn't. Why should he be their entertainment? Really? He knows what they're going to do.
He can build some bridges.
He interacts with them.
Yeah. Anyway, straight ahead. Is pot legalization making things more dangerous for you on the road? That debate when we come right back.
Why pause a spontaneous moment? Cialis for daily use treats ED and the urinary symptoms of BPH. Tell your doctor about your medicines and ask if your heart is healthy enough for sex. Do not take Cialis if you take nitrates for chest pain or Adempas for pulmonary hypertension, as this may cause an unsafe drop in blood pressure. Do not drink alcohol in excess. To avoid long-term injury, get medical help right away for an erection lasting more than 4 hours. If you have a sudden decrease or loss of hearing or vision or an allergic reaction, stop taking Cialis and get medical help right away. Ask your doctor about Cialis.
I didn't know where I was from ethnically, so we sent that sample off to Ancestry. My Ancestry DNA results are that I'm 26% Nigerian. I'm just trying to learn as much as I can about my culture. I put the gele on my head and I looked into the mirror and I was trying not to cry because it's a hat, but it's like the most important hat I've ever owned.
Discover the story only your DNA can tell. Order your kit now at AncestryDNA.com.
I had memory foams, I had feather pillows, and I'd always wake up with neck pain. After sleeping on my pillow, I didn't wake up with the headaches, I was more aligned.
I didn't realize the connection between the pillow and sleep. When I switched to my pillow, I got a better night's sleep, and I love it.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs, and it holds that support all night long to take the pressure off your shoulders and keep your neck aligned so you get the best night's sleep of your life.
MyPillow is machine washable and dryable and comes with a 60-day money-back guarantee and an amazing 10-year warranty. Plus, every MyPillow is made in the USA.
I personally guarantee that MyPillow will be the most comfortable pillow you'll ever own. Take advantage of my famous offer and get 2 MyPillow premiums for one low price. Call or go to MyPillow.com. Be sure to use the promo code and I'll give you free shipping.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
Jeffrey Bean has one mission: to help save lives. Every purchase of a shirt, tie, suit, or an accessory from the Jeffrey Bean collection will help to push new cancer research forward. You can help give hope by joining me in supporting Jeffrey Bean's mission to save lives.
Have you ever seen something so beautiful that all you could say was, wow? Or walked on the world's best beach? At a place that made you feel like you were in a dream, where family comes first and fun is measured one ride at a time.
You're all about a good life.
Where you're served like royalty, but treated like family. Beaches, Turks, and Caicos, where anything is possible because everything is included. Wow! Get up to 65% off. Call 1-800-BEACHES.
Hi, I'm Frank. I take Movantik for OIC, opioid-induced constipation. I had a bad back injury. My doctor prescribed opioids, which helped with the chronic pain, but backed me up. Big time. Tried prunes, laxatives, still constipated. Had to talk to my doctor. She said, "How long you been holding this in?" That was my Movantik moment. My doctor told me that Movantik is specifically designed for OIC and can help you go more often. Don't take Movantik if you have a bowel blockage or a history of them. Movantik may cause serious side effects, including symptoms of opioid withdrawal, severe stomach pain and/or diarrhea, and tears in the stomach or intestine. Tell your doctor about any side effects and about medicines you take. Movantik may interact with them, causing side effects. Why hold it in? Have your Movantik moment. Talk to your doctor about opioid-induced constipation. If you can't afford your medication, AstraZeneca may be able to help.
Right here I am, stuck in the middle with you. Yes, I'm stuck in the middle with you.
A new report put out by the Governor's Highway Association shows that in 2015, 43% of drivers tested in fatal accidents had used drugs. That compares to 37% of drivers who were above the legal limit for alcohol. It is the first time ever that the drugged driving figure topped the drunk driving tally in fatal accidents. So what about this? Kimberly?
Yeah, you know, this is something that I've really been focused on for a long time as a prosecutor in San Francisco and Los Angeles. And when you start out in the DA's office, you prosecute and handle a lot of drunk driving cases. And what I saw was an increase in cases where people were pulled over from being under the influence also of narcotics. And I think when you look at sort of the shift in this country and the epidemic of people addicted to opioids and other drugs, and prescription pain medicine has just become so prevalent in terms of the abuse of it and just wrecking families. This is so significant. And finally, I feel like we're paying more attention to it, just because of the sheer volume, the numbers that we're seeing in terms of deaths associated and just really prevalent substance abuse. And it's just devastating for these, families. And I don't like when people sort of are cavalier, but, oh, well, I'd rather have somebody smoking pot or doing something like that behind the wheel than drinking. No, you don't want anyone who is under the influence to be behind the wheel of a car.
So let me ask you to
Let me just say, there's a clarification here, in that it's the 43% they had tested, they had drugs in their system, not that the drugs actually influenced or affected that crash. I mean, that's not
right. So it doesn't necessarily impair
But how do
your
you know?
ability
You
to
don't
drive.
know.
That's
the
the
point.
problem. But here's the thing I was going to ask you to help, because I've been fascinated by this opioid crisis in America, and I think it's devastating. But when they say drugs, do they mean prescription drugs? Do they mean narcotics? What do they mean?
But this study doesn't
Can I answer that?
differentiate.
This is a garbage study.
All right,
All right. They tracked 400 different drugs. Marijuana accounted for 35%. That's less than the 37% of alcohol. People were instinctively thinking about marijuana when they read this report. Marijuana, 35%, alcohol, 37%. If you take away amphetamines and marijuana, the overwhelming majority, over 50% are other medications. They don't know the medications because they only tested 57% of the drivers. So even the research that they have isn't good. And the bigger question is, how many number of subjects had drugs in their system also had alcohol? That's a very big question.
Okay, so why did you disagree with don't get behind the wheel of a car?
Oh, no, it's a law.
Substances?
It's against the law.
Well, it's against the law, but also
I'm not
it
arguing that. I'm
affects
arguing against the research.
I understand that, but maybe perhaps the research isn't as detailed
That's
or
my point.
significant as it should be. And
But we're extrapolating from it. We're trying to make a point, and I'm trying to say, read the research. And I want to point out if we're going to talk about studies, this is an amazing study. The rate of opioid overdose deaths decrease by 25% on average following the passage of medical marijuana laws. So when you actually pass medical marijuana laws, you save lives because they don't get on opioids. So before we extrapolate from this research into stuff that we don't know, I welcome the research.
Well, that's medical marijuana.
Right.
So Dan,
You're not talking about
marijuana.
but you're not talking about recreational
We
use.
can go,
But they're
I
not
love Facebook
discriminating
Friday.
the difference.
Charles Groundhammer never says that. I'm good.
No, I'm good. You can go.
All right, ahead, a brazen armed robbery in Kansas City caught on tape. We'll tell you how this terrifying situation turned out. But first, stay tuned for Facebook Friday. I think this is a little dangerous.
Gosh.
It is. I'm still going to talk about
Are you
pot.
excited?
Up next.
It's the final days of Mattress Firm's once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to get once-in-a-lifetime savings of up to 70% off Tempur-Pedic and Sealy. Plus, save up to $2,000 off floor models. We're liquidating every Tempur-Pedic and Sealy in stock to make room for the next generation of innovative sleep products. Don't miss this final chance to save up to 70% off Tempur-Pedic and Sealy before this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity is gone forever. Only at Mattress.
Let's skip the next, Facebook Friday.
Oh my God.
We don't have any time for that. It's so bad. All right, from Elena C. Elena C. It is bad. What's the biggest change in each of your lives since you've switched to the 9 p.m. primetime slot? We'll go Kimberly around.
No social life.
You have a social life when you don't even have a social life.
Isn't it amazing?
You just attract people from all over the place when you're doing nothing. It's not fair, Juan.
I agree. I think it's not fair.
All right, what's your
beautiful, young, all that? Eating.
Thank you, Juan.
Eating?
Because eating is like I like to eat. And now I can't. In fact, I saw you the other day. I was just eating a pizza.
You were eating. You had a slice of pizza in your pocket. It was disturbing.
Let's not go too far.
He had a slice of pizza in his pocket.
Yeah, all right. But
I keep
what am I
picking a
supposed
blanket in my pocket.
Pizza pockets.
All right.
What am I supposed to eat now?
I don't know.
All right, I'm just here for the day.
Yeah, that's true.
I can
came on the
tell.
show.
He's like, I'm out of here. Yeah.
Mine
love
was
having you.
when to eat, but I've figured that out. And the answer is 6:30. And then you're fine, because then you don't want to eat afterwards. And the best thing is I spend a lot more time with Jasper.
Oh, isn't that beautiful, America? That's America's dog. You may not have heard of that dog. It changed my life. I do a lot less charity work. Because as you know, I like to help people at night.
Oh my
I go around the city. I can't do that anymore. All right, so this is a good one. I'll start with you, Dana. This is from Ed L. If you were given the chance to change one law, what would it be and why?
With some restriction, all the leash laws at all the parks.
Oh my goodness.
Of course, it's
You
another
saw
dog
that one
answer.
coming.
Another.
Yeah, it's dog regulation.
Yeah, dog. You feel the same way?
Of course, sure. I'll side
Thank
with
you.
Wow. Wow.
Executive
one
order.
vote.
Juan, come on. Pick a law. Any law you could legalize. Anything you could change.
Jaywalking.
Jaywalking?
Ooh, you ever got a ticket?
Live on the edge.
Have you ever got a ticket for it?
No, you get harassed. That's why I don't like it.
How about
I don't know. I mean, I like all the laws. You know, this is my life. I love the law. I live for the law.
How about Obamacare?
I am the law.
You are the law.
Yes. But yes, down with Obamacare.
Okay.
Wow.
That's really worked out well for you guys.
Throwing some shade.
I would legalize every single remedy ever invented that has been designed to alleviate physiological or psychological pain.
Marijuana?
Every single drug
This
or
goes back
medication.
to the last segment when you were pro-drugs.
Well,
No, I'm just saying, nobody should have the right to ban your oblivion.
You know why?
You should have a right to seek out
He has
any
all
kind
these
of reduction in pain.
psychosomatic issues.
No,
and
I'm
he
just
wants
saying.
lots of medication.
Who are you to tell somebody that they can't treat their pain? And it could be psychological pain or physical pain. They are no different. They're exactly the same. They're for the same part of the brain.
Addictive drugs, Greg.
Why are things addictive, Juan? Because they work.
No, they can.
And
kill
life is
people.
hard.
They'll kill
if you can
people,
cure
they'll
pain in
ruin
life,
society.
you can ban drugs.
My God. Somebody put on their cranky pants
One more
tonight.
thing.
Okay.
Hit Escape with great deals on great gear, like our huge selection of shorts for the whole family, only at Bass Pro Shops.
Critical times, historic decisions, unbelievable stories, and no one takes you inside them all like Martha McCallum. It's smart, fair, and unflinching coverage. That's The Story with Martha McCallum. Premieres Monday at 7.
When you have digestive sensitivities, some foods leave your stomach in knots. With bloating, discomfort, cramps, and gas. Try Pro Nourish Drink, a unique nutritional drink that's high in protein and fiber. And Pro Nourish has no gluten or high fructose corn syrup, and it's low in FODMAP ingredients that may trigger digestive sensitivities. It's your delicious anytime, anywhere mini meal or snack. Pro Nourish, nutrition you can feel good about.
What made two guys build race car engines in their own shop? What made them believe that a 2-ton behemoth could compete in a track race? Or that they could take on the elite in world motor racing and win? We may never truly understand what drives Mercedes-AMG, but here's to another 50 years of it. Mercedes-AMG, half a century of driving performance.
Seems like just yesterday, I felt invincible. Today, to stay in the game, I've got to take on the pain. And make no mistake, I'm still in the game.
Introducing CopperFit Balance, a revolutionary new high-performance orthotic insole designed to help correct pronation and relieve plantar fasciitis that can lead to unexplained pains. When you have aches and pain, chances are you don't have the right foot support.
My feet were throbbing, they were in pain all the time.
I couldn't generate power the way that I needed to.
I got to the point where I got to try something new.
Over time, your arches can collapse and knock your body out of alignment. The CopperFit Balance Adaptive Arch Support is designed to lift and hold the shape of your arch in its correct position, giving you the support you need to keep your body aligned for improved performance.
It gave me a sense of balance, and as a shooter personally, that's the most important part of my job. If it's able to work for me, can't imagine what it would do for the casual player. I think it's the best thing to hit the market.
I was like, is this really going to benefit me, or is this just another gimmick? Wow.
Embedded in the insole, a semi-rigid orthotic base and deep heel cup helps align your feet for better stability and balance, combined with a cushion blend layer for impact absorption and a wicking fabric footbed copper infused to reduce odors.
CopperFit insoles are without a doubt one of the most important products that I put on every day. And let me tell you, I won't go without them.
If you're on your feet, construction worker, nurse, you need CopperFit Balance insoles.
The best performing orthotic insole you will ever wear. Guarantee or your money back. Call 1-800-401-6113 or now at copperfitbalance.com for only $24.99. A low profile to fit any work, dress, athletic, or casual shoe.
Balance, power, performance at any age. CopperFit. Live limitless.
It's time now for one more thing, and I'll kick it off. Take a look at this heart-stopping surveillance footage showing a Jimmy John's employee remaining perfectly calm while being robbed at gunpoint on Wednesday. The suspect was arrested Thursday, charged today, according to the Kansas City Police Department, and thanks in large part to the tips they received from the public after this video was widely circulated.
Wow.
And federal court with illegally possessing a firearm, and just for you law aficionados, he could also face state charges. Look at how calm he was.
Did
This
he
is
get
a
an
lesson to
award?
everyone at home.
I mean, did he get like an extra bonus or something for
I
being
like how
so
he gave
brave?
him the chain.
Well, he should, but that you've got to be calm. Do not argue with somebody with a gun. Don't be the hero. Be
That
the
guy
one that
must have-
lives.
You love every law.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. Felon with a gun is particularly I'm fond of because it's an easy conviction. Yeah. Oh, and I'm going to be hosting Waters World. I'm going to be on with Greg Gutfeld live from 10 to 11.
Yes. He's going to work
Nice.
nonstop all weekend.
Dun, 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 dun. Dana.
Okay, I wanted to do a little circle of life, one more thing. So today, there was a funeral for Kate O'Byrne. She was a really amazing woman, a conservative intellectual who was a quite sort of a luminary of the women's movement. She sought a lot of us young women out in D.C. to help us, and she really helped us figure out a way to communicate very effectively. I think that the world will miss her very much, and I know that her family really adored her. One of her sons, I know, was a police officer. So I learned a lot from her, and she will be missed.
God bless.
And then the other thing that happened today is that my friend, Bethany and Steph Mandel, pictured here. So she's 9 months pregnant. She went to the hospital yesterday. Twice they sent her home. They're like, this is not happening today. In the middle of the night, then, okay, it's starting to happen. He starts to drive her to the hospital. From the first contraction to the delivery in the car outside of an auto parts store, 45 minutes. And Seth Mandel delivered the little boy, and the police department and the EMT, they showed up, took him to the hospital, and everybody is doing well. So congratulations to the Mandel family.
Is his name OTTO, like Otto?
Wow.
Not announced. Not announced yet.
That would be actually
That
good.
was very nice. Greg.
That would be fun. You should name him Otto.
There you go.
Greg.
All right, what am I doing? Oh, the show tomorrow night. We got 10 o'clock. It's live. It's live. I got Tom Shalhoub, somebody named Kimberly Guilfoyle, you might know her, Kat Timpf, Tyrus. That's tomorrow night. Now it's time for something new. Greg's Amazing Quiz. I ask, you answer incorrectly. All right. The first question's a tough one. What is... Well, that's not the question.
Oh, my God. I'm sorry you forfeited.
How many times has President Trump tweeted in his first 100 days? The winner gets this jackalope. So make your guess. Go.
485.
Dana?
315?
One?
200.
425.
I have to get you win the jackalope, Brett. It was 486 because he tweeted later today. So you would I'm sorry, it's 487. It went up to 487.
It's like the Price is Right.
Yeah, so you were closest by 2. You get the jackalope. There's 37 cents in here, Brett.
Wait, did he just tweet again?
Well
Get a
done.
488, Mr. President. A
Oh, my
488.
gosh. That's very
A
nice.
jackalope. Who
All
knew?
His name's Fred.
Yeah,
Well,
Juan.
for your spring weekend reading list, my book, We the People's now out in paperback. It's a discussion
Great book.
of what the founding fathers would think of modern America. But look at this. Yesterday was Take Your Kids to workday, even for the NFL draft. And when Garrett Bowles was selected by the Broncos, he brought his 4-month-old son, Kingston, on stage to get his jersey. Kingston stole the show in his little gray suit, but come fall, he'll be sporting the Broncos blue and orange. Congratulations
Great
to
choice.
Garrett.
Very nice. Excellent.
All right, last one. The Bunny Mellon Healing Garden at Children's National Health System in Washington, D.C. opened today. It's an outside garden. The First Lady, Melania Trump, was there. It's a garden dedicated to First Ladies. It allows kids who are in the hospital to be outside and to get fresh air. And believe it or not, that is a really big deal. Melania Trump said some wonderful words today, and obviously that place is close to our heart.
Yes,
our
God
son
bless.
Paul had some surgeries there, and it's a great place.
And you know what? You're being humble. You have done so much for that hospital. People in Washington know Brett Baer away from news as a caring soul because of that effort.
Yes, he is very, very generous, loving father and husband too. It's been a
And
pleasure
now,
having you here.
having been on the five.
Add it to your resume.
All right, and buy his book too. Set your DVRs, never miss an episode of The Five. We'll see you back here Monday at 9 Eastern. Hannity next.
And this is a Fox News alert. U.S. officials confirmed to the Fox News channel that North Korea has test-fired a ballistic missile, raising tensions with the United States and the entire world. Dr. Sebastian Gorka will join us tonight with reaction. Also, Larry Elder, Geraldo Rivera, Jay Sekulow, Michael Cohen, and the NRA's Wayne LaPierre will all be here tonight. But first, it's been a very busy week for President Trump, with tomorrow marking his 100th day in office. Now, despite President Trump's long list of accomplishments, well, that's getting bigger, by the way, by the day, the alt-radical left destroy Trump media. They can